Yes guys, I'm back. The vlog is officially here. My 2-week personal experiment of doing a week's worth of videos and then a week without videos, which the videos were kind of like my public journal, I guess you could say. I'd watch the videos back and then I would privately, just with myself, go even deeper inside mind, body, soul, heart. I've taken the piss a little bit, but in all truthfulness, I actually did that for 2 weeks, and there was a very stark difference between the 1 week where I vlogged every day and last week where I didn't vlog at all on purpose. Experiment complete. The vlog, it needs to be here. I love the vlog. I think what I realized about how I spend my time during that week was that I realized that I didn't actually really do anything specific for the vlog. I did most of the vlogging either last thing in the day, in the beginning of the day, and it gave me like this creative buzz, this feeling of like, even if there was not really that much editing involved, even if it wasn't like a narrative masterpiece, it gave me something that I know got my brain working. That's the story of why there was no videos last week. I also didn't want to say that in any kind of way, because then the actual personal value behind the experiment for me would have just not existed, because I'd have had people saying like, we love it, we love it, we love it. And I didn't want to force any of that. But anyway, I got 10 questions from the comments section of that last video. And the first one is from Roman Codes. He says, have the tourists returned yet? Yes, they bloody have. And how did Bali survive without them? Well, Bali doesn't just rely on tourism. It is obviously one of the heaviest ways and the most dominant ways that Bali does function as an ecosystem. Tourism brings in a hell of a lot of money. You could clearly see the impact that not having tourists had. There were a lot of people that lost their jobs. There are a lot of people that as a result of that were running low on food, and Bali really struggled during the COVID times. The tourists are now back, and it would be very fraudulent of me to not also give my own selfish opinion on all of this. It was, as a Western person, for me to be in Bali during the COVID time, selfishly was excellent. Max Reed, he says, do you think that you'll ever bring the main channel back? The main channel is something I've spoken about in, I think, one of the first couple of vlogs that we did here on this channel. I will never ever bring back the main channel. I made a video that was titled The End, and then I decided that that was the end of the Herder of Buffalo alias. And then because I was concerned about this pressure that I felt having a channel with over 1 million subscribers and just wasting it, I cared so much about that pressure that I thought I would try and do the vlogging, which was at the time the daily vlog, the travel content that I was making. I tried to transition that into that main channel. It didn't work. From a business perspective for me, I lost all of the work that I was getting as a result of doing those travel videos. I was getting paid by tourism boards. Not only could brands not find my work and thought because that I made the vlog channel redundant, it gets so complicated when I talk about my YouTube past. Because the vlog channel was no longer active, brands that would search for me were like, oh, he doesn't post anymore. And because YouTube didn't favor the fact that the videos that I then posted on that main channel weren't as popular as the content that was popular on that channel before, YouTube just killed the channel off, basically, from an SEO, finding my videos and growing the channel perspective. So after I realized that, I made the George Benson football channel, and I decided that I should have let that channel go, the main channel, when I closed off the alias. The reason I closed off the alias is because I made the decision by myself to let go of that kind of comedy in a content creation kind of sense, because I feel as though I was growing up faster than what my content was actually showing. A, like inauthentic to myself, and B, I felt like the only reason I was making that content was because there was external pressures and I'd lost my enjoyment to actually do it. And one of the things I've always done in YouTube is as soon as I've had enough of something, I know that it affects the quality. I know that I can't deliver what people expect from me. So as soon as I don't like doing something anymore, I just stop doing it. And I don't really care too much for explaining myself in that sense, because that is what YouTube is. It is a platform that provides free entertainment, and without the people making the content, there is no content for people to consume. So why would you want the person whose content you're watching to hate what he or she is doing? Doesn't make any sense to me. Next question is from Omid Edari. Question: what is the most surprising experience you have had in Bali so far? I think the most surprising experience on the whole was COVID, because not only was it very eye-opening from like a humanitarian side of the world to not only see how Bali was coping, but to see how the rest of the world was coping. I think to be on an island in the middle of the ocean, and although I could have left really at any point, the freedom that was taken away as a result of the worldwide restrictions from COVID taught me a hell of a lot about the way I view my own role in society. It told me a lot about confirming reasons why in the past I've wanted to leave my hometown, leave the UK. And I think as much as it taught me a lot from the outside about the way that we operate as people, I think it also was a brilliant time, which is kind of hard for people to talk about, because there is this stigma that COVID was just all bad for everybody, and then the moment that you see someone actually putting it in a positive spin or in a positive way, it ticks people off, it kind of triggers people a little bit. But I would be absolutely lying if I didn't say those 2 years when the world was a mess were actually probably the 2 best years I've ever had. So yeah, it's kind of an odd one. I know that some people can't really get their head around that. That's how it was for me. And I think that's the most surprising thing, is that it was actually being so far away from everything, switched off from everything, having to deal with like all of these mandates such as masks, such as vaccinations. Basically all of this stuff was just thrown at us. And the most surprising thing for me was that being so far away from home, as in the UK and family and all of that stuff, actually made me appreciate all of the decisions I'd ever made to get to that point in the first place, even more than I already had when I first got on the plane to come back here. Yeah, don't know if that makes full sense to some of you, but there's always going to be more questions in the comments about the questions if you don't get the answers. Next question is from JC. Loving these videos. I follow GBFC as a Chelsea fan, but it is refreshing to see this side of you as a person. Nice, cool, that's good. As a male 20-something-year-old recovering from the end of a long-term relationship, trying to figure out who I am as a person and what I want to do with my life now, it is really insightful to hear you discussing your experience. Hopefully I can draw some inspiration and learn a thing or two from you and your journey. I'll keep this one short and sweet again, because like I said, there are some things in life that should be private, some things that deserve to be public. And I believe, not that I know everything in life and that I'm the perfect human being, I certainly do not believe that. But there are 2 different sides to every story, and then there's the truth. And it's not always about like who did wrong or who did right, but at the end of the day, my truth was the experience. My truth was that even if you fall out of love with someone, they were still a part of your life and you loved them. So why would you ever, let's say, delete everything or try and remove all these memories or burn the photo albums or never go back to the same hotel that you once stayed in with your first girlfriend because it just might be a bit too traumatic for you? In life, there is no such thing as the one. I do think that we feel as though we might find the one because it's that one at that moment. And that isn't because like I'm totally anti the Disney romance of the way that life can sometimes be. I certainly am a romantic. I certainly do love. And I feel like I'm a very passionate person who likes to give. And the one thing I can specifically say about all of my relationships is that once that initial pain body is gone, which is the one that has to accept that what you had isn't there anymore and it's not going to be there anymore. Once you can accept this, forgiveness comes so quickly that letting go and that process becomes something which doesn't allow you to hold any resentment, any regret for something that was there that isn't there anymore. I hope that makes sense. I keep saying I hope it makes sense. I'm going to stop saying that. The next question is from Christopher Butler. How are you doing mentally lately? I won't lie to you. This weekend, I went up to Canggu. You guys know I'm in Uluwatu. Canggu's all the way up there. Canggu is the crazy, busy hellhole that it's become in my eyes at least for the last few weeks. I went there to help my friend Kai organize the Bali Cup. This was the branding. I went there. I ended up going out twice. Ended up losing my voice. Ended up seeing some of the most harrowing things that I've seen in Bali for quite some time. I hadn't been up there for nearly 2 whole months, not even onto the motorway to get there, let alone go to the town or the area. It was kind of like all of the things I'd recently been feeling about trying to remove myself from party environments, trying to remove myself from the hustle, the bustle, the crazy busy, was absolutely the right thing to do. And when I put myself back into those environments, I've got to realize that because I was going through some stuff a few weeks ago, I'm not out of the woods yet. It's not something that is like totally finished the moment that you start to feel good every single day. The reason why I didn't want to go up there is because I didn't want to be involved in this crazy, what I consider a mess, because it disrupts my rhythm, it disrupts my pattern. And I think understanding that and having a few drinks one night and then the next day feeling anxious about it is a really, really good thing for me mentally. And it's kind of made me now, in my head at least, double down on the desire to make these, double down on living down south in Bali, where it's a lot more peaceful, a lot more quiet, at least until the end of the summer or when I have to move out of here and can't find something. At least for now, I'm in the right place. And mentally, I would say I'm doing very good. But at the weekend, there are a couple of moments where I was just like, yeah, there's still a lot of work that I need to do. There's still a lot of keeping consistent with getting out of just going out and partying. A lot of people do that if they go through like a breakup or a big change in life. They use partying and going out as like a mechanism to escape what they actually have to just accept to move on from. But the first time ever in my life, I've actually felt like, for me, it was the right thing to not just jump straight back into partying, drinking. Dan Simpson, why don't you upload these vlogs on your travel channel? Same thing, like the travel channel hasn't been used anymore. 2 things, YouTube doesn't like inactive channels, so it won't push it. So if I ever wanted to make this a thing, it would be so hard to do it on an existing channel. B, I also wanted to start this with a brand new, fresh mentality without any of the 11 years worth of like pressures and understandings and YouTube, like the boring science behind it. I didn't want to have any of those pressures. I didn't want to push the channel massively. I've been calling it like the secret project channel and just saying like it's in the description or sharing the videos on Twitter or Instagram, whatever. I've not really been like begging people to come and subscribe. I want people to come here who actually like this kind of thing. I'm not putting pressure on it. So yeah, that's why it's not going on any of the pre-existing, let's say, successful channels in the eyes of people that are just like, why make another new one? JTV says, could you do more going to matches in Bali? I'd love to see the culture and football matches. Absolutely 100%. I want to get into this a little bit more. Alex Niblak, how do you hold yourself accountable to do, complete and work towards goals you set for yourself? I'll be very honest with this. It's something I've been pretty average at my whole life. Accountability is something that I would say I certainly don't take anywhere near as seriously as I would like to. But I also think that I do that in like a goal achievement related sense. I would say that I do hold myself accountable for the way I like to treat people. I would say I hold myself accountable for the way I deal with things in my life that are away from work and earning money and success, let's say. And I kind of don't want to hold myself accountable to anyone else's opinion. That's one of my biggest goals that I'm currently trying to deal with and experience in my life. Feeling sometimes I need to help people all the time is something that I'm trying to feel less accountable to myself for day by day at the moment. It's something that I'd say I'm more goal driven on right now, as opposed to like trying to achieve something. I think I've achieved a lot. At the moment, I really am. I know it's a bit cliche and like people be like, oh, he's in Bali, of course he says this. But yeah, I'm really just trying to work on myself a little bit at the moment and it's pretty good. The next question, I think there's like 2 more to go here. We got YouTube science teacher. Keep up the daily videos, even if it's a 30-second conversation. Think about that one. Question, would you ever think about buying a property in Indonesia? The prices must be cheaper than the UK. It is absolutely cheaper than the UK, although buying property in Indonesia is not quite the same as buying property in the UK. They have things here called leasehold and they have things here called freehold. It's very difficult to get freehold land. You basically buy the lease for the land, and then when you have the land, you get to build what you design or whatever you want on it. It's certainly something I really want to do. I plan by the end of this year to have a piece of land, which I'm probably going to have to lease because I doubt I'll be able to afford or be able to find anything freehold, I would absolutely love to build a property in Indonesia. I think if there was ever a place in the world at this moment where I'd be like, to build the dream home or whatever, I'd say that Indonesia would probably be above anywhere else I've ever been at this point. And I hope that throughout this video there have been enough things that you could personally take out of any of my personal stories or shares that give you a little bit of guidance. If that's what you're after, then I hope I did a decent job for you all. But yeah, this has been the longest video so far on the channel. I really do appreciate it if you have managed to make it all the way until this part of the video, 20 odd minutes in. Yeah, thank you for all the love on the first 6 videos. Thank you for the love if you've given any on this one. And yeah, I'll probably be back tomorrow or the next day with another vlog for you. So yeah, thank you for watching. Ciao.